This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and DopelivenTV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Trench in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Dope Living TV. Man, who am I? I'm the brother to the night. I tried to be the funk in your left eye and the other stuff to your right. Anyways, Greg Gray. Welcome to Dope Living TV. Look, the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Man, we got a good show tonight. Start the week off. This gentleman that's going to come on today and have a conversation with us, sit down with us. He's a former NFL pro football player for the Pittsburgh Steelers, middle linebacker, by the way, and he's doing a lot of great things. Okay, he's a motivational speaker now, and he's trying to help these young athletes get to another level. You know, straighten out their heads. You know what I mean? And I got a couple of questions about that. I got to ask him too, and he has a podcast as well. And we're going to talk about all that, but let's get the people on here. What up, Gina?
I don't know what that was. You just said.
I'm the brother to the night, trying to be in the right.
Okay.
What?
So, hey, Coach.
What's going on, girl? What's good?
How
y'all doing? Pretty good. Pretty good.
Mo, she don't understand, Mo.
Mo, if you understand.
She said, well.
You understand, Mo?
Fire Marshal Marcy understands.
I didn't understand what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Fire Marshal Marcy.
Y'all need to listen. Y'all need to listen up. Right?
Hey, Jeff.
What's going on, girl? How you been?
I'm good.
I'm a little
That's
ill
good.
today, so y'all bear with me. So the jokes ain't gonna come running like they normally do. All right.
Yes, they are. They the same way they were in the.
Hey, Levon, there's some haters, man. That's all.
Oh, man.
Dang,
Hallelujah.
Again, welcome to the show. We are not going to hesitate too long. Okay, we got this guy here. Man. Let's just bring him on, man. Everybody say what's up to Mr. Levon Kirkland.
What's up?
What's going on, sir?
What's happening, everybody?
Pleasure.
How's everybody doing?
We are great.
Doing great.
Awesome.
Blessed to be on the planet.
Amen.
Hey, man. This gentleman, first of all, man, welcome to the show. Thanks for giving us the time to have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Light them candles, Marcy. We're going to have a celebration. All right. Let's light them up.
Big light.
Light them up. What you light them with? You do it with the old school wood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Old school wood matches. The other ones don't make a difference. This gentleman, he played in the NFL for 11 years. He was a middle linebacker. I'm correct in saying middle linebacker, right?
Well, inside linebacker, but it's not the same. Yeah.
I want to get it right. Inside
Yes.
linebacker.
Inside linebacker, yes.
Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. 11 years, y'all. 11 years.
Yes, 11 seasons.
That's what's up.
That's a lot of body right there, bro.
That's longevity. Did you ever get hurt in those seasons?
You know, I've never missed a game.
Wow. That's
From my first game in high school throughout college to the NFL, I've never missed a game. Extremely blessed. Extremely blessed.
Yes,
that's a lot. That's saying a lot because of all the concussion stuff that went on then, and that was way before they started making it illegal to hit, wrong.
That's
You know, back then they would give us amnesia tests. They wouldn't really give us concussion tests. They ask you what quarter, and that was basically it. You know, you just had a tremendous.
So if you couldn't tell them what get hit hard, you couldn't tell them what quarter it is. It's like
right. If you couldn't tell what quarter,
locker room moment,
you're in trouble. But if you can tell what quarter it is, you can get back in the game. So that's what the concussion protocol was back in the day.
But he was giving concussions, y'all.
Was it the equipment that, was it inferior equipment or just a part of the brunt hit? And the
I think it was a little bit of everything. I think the equipment was what it was. The big concern wasn't really concussions at that time. I think that the game was a little bit more physical. The hits you would get fined for. Today you wouldn't get fined for back in the day. So, yeah, I think it was a combination of a lot of things. I think that, the equipment probably wasn't the best, but then you also had artificial turf too. If you hit that, that's like hitting cement.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
And the hits were just vicious back then. And, it was a little bit of the game was a little tougher.
Yeah.
Hey, you was a big guy. I saw the picture.
A very big guy, yes.
You put my little self out there. You breaking me in half, brother. I ain't got time for that mess.
Pictures too. Wow.
He caused concussions, okay? And
I was just doing my job. I'm usually a pretty more of a gentle guy, actually. But out there, you gotta kind of put on your Superman cape and go to work.
Gotta play that game.
Yeah.
Now you would think that with the demeanor that you see right here, man, that he wasn't killing them on the field, all right? Nah, he was killing them on the field. Y'all check this out.
Uh-oh.
He was. Out there giving us
air like Superman, dropping everybody, and then they come to you, and you like flick them off like a fly.
No,
no, not right now.
That should have been a ludicrous track. Get out of my way.
Do you, Levon? Do you miss that?
I don't miss some of it. I don't really miss the practices and some of the rigor that you had to go through training camp. The only time I really miss it is during the playoffs. Because the playoffs was the highest level, and it was do or die. If you didn't win, you go home. So I really miss that level of competition, but some of the rest of it, I really don't miss. You know what I really miss though? I really miss being in the locker room with the guys and meeting all kind of guys from different diversities. Of course, you miss the paycheck. The paycheck coming on a regular basis, man, that was pretty cool. But other than that, it's a shelf life. You play it for a little bit. The average career is about 3 years. I played for 11 And so I was very blessed and very honored to do that. But man, I had a lot of fun, but I don't miss it, especially my body now. I don't know if I could take those bumps like I did back then.
I can imagine.
Oh, it's a process, man. So what made you want to play football? Was it your size?
You know what it was? It really, my brothers, they're all older than me. And I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be an athlete like those guys were. They were very good athletes. And being the youngest, I kind of had to do a lot of things on my own because my brothers were a little older. And I just love watching the game on TV. I would go outside. I pretend that I was, everybody. Defense, offense, commentator, coaches, everybody. And one day, I threw the ball up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to play pro ball one day when I caught it. And that became my love of the game. I always loved it. I don't remember not loving the game.
Right. So you knew your calling immediately after that.
Yeah, I knew what I wanted to do.
Any other questions?
What's up?
Yeah, I just want to know, Levon, what do you see is the biggest difference now in the sport than when you were playing?
Wow, I think the sport is more spread out, and what I mean by that is the game is they use more of the field. Back when I played, it was more of a run game, more of a man-to-man combat, a lot of jump going on as far as when I play. Now the game is spread out. The game is more about scoring touchdowns, and it's more of an offensive kind of game. So the NFL, and this is just an opinion, I think the NFL want more scores because they can get more casual fans. They don't really need the diehard fans. They need the more casual. And so the rules are slanted to the offense a little bit more. So you see more pass interference, you see more late hits just to get more scores on the board. So back in my day, a good game would be maybe 21-7. Now it's like, it's going to be 28-35 or 42 because they definitely want more offense. And offense, I guess, gets more money.
And that's leads to a good question. Okay, is this game now all about money?
It's you guys always. I think it's always been about money.
Right.
Well, I mean, more so that money is the prevalent thing now because you guys play football. Okay, these guys, it's
true.
I mean, it's football. They dress up like it, but
it's always. I mean, it's always been kind of about the money.
Yeah, well, my father used to say, and I watched football probably from the time I was 13, 14 years old because my father was so into sports. But he always used to say that the games were slanted because of certain bets and certain people that bet on the game that they knew who were going to win even before the game started.
Well, I wouldn't say that the game is. I don't think it's fixed. But I think there is something to say about, they want more scores on the board. They want people to be more intrigued. I think that's the reason why I think back in the day you had more dynasties, 49ers, the 1970 Pittsburgh Steelers. You had more dynasties. Now, teams are not together that long. They're together maybe 3 years for the most part. And now you get more parity in the league. Now you don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. It could be any team nowadays. So, but I have to let you guys know it's always been about the money.
Right, I agree with that, and it's similar to boxing because if you remember back in the day, I don't remember who it might have been Mayweather. I'm not sure, but when they had those matches. And people were paying pay-per-view to see those fights, and they only lasted 1 or 2 or 3 rounds. Folks started to be a riot.
Right.
And so
they'll wait till the next week when HBO had it for free.
And so that
they found out they knew who.
Yeah, I can see boxing being that way. I can see some sports being that way, but I think football. I mean, you got to. It really can't be staged because you got a lot of players involved. You know, so but the game is so good on television. It's such an action-packed game. It's such an American game that people tune in. You know, it's not a world game. It's more of an American game, and Americans love their football.
They do. Do you still enjoy watching it like you used to?
I still enjoy watching it. I try not to be the old man in the backyard saying "get off my lawn" or anything like that. There's some things that maybe I don't particularly like, but I still watch the game because you're talking about some of the best athletes to ever play, man, and it's amazing to watch them do their thing.
Yeah, it is. You know, like I said, to me, it's a little watered down now because back in the day, you had people like Buckets yourself, and you know, Mean Joe Green. Well, Mean Joe Green is a little bit before that, but you guys played and you guys hit, and you look,
y'all hit people.
My father and I used to sit and watch football all the time, and his favorite team was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Really? Okay, good. Yeah,
that was my ex-husband's favorite.
I used to get mad because I'm like, Dad, we lived in Gary, okay, Chicago, man.
Yeah.
He said, no, the steel curtain. I said, yeah, whatever, dude.
You want to know that my theory is Pittsburgh, in a lot of ways, catered to a lot of Black Americans because they had the colors, black and gold, but also they got a rich history of getting a lot of players, especially when they won the Super Bowls, from HBCUs.
Really?
Yeah, one of their first quarterbacks in that era was Jefferson, something like that. Maybe he was a Black quarterback, and he was going to really start over Terry Bradshaw at the time. Tony Dungy was probably one of the first young defensive coordinators with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some of the players they had, like Mel Blount, Donnie Shell, John Stallworth, those guys are all from HBCU. So I think that was one of the reasons why they appeal to Black Americans.
Yeah, those names that he named, man, those are some of the greatest football players that ever.
Right. Yeah,
man, for real. Stallworth, be for real. Come on now.
Stallworth was a man. I love Stallworth.
Man, I'm telling you. So as you did your, excuse me, I told you, Emil, did your 11 years. You once you decided you were going to retire, were you afraid of what the next stage of your life is going to be?
Yeah, I think everybody goes through that transition where you're kind of wondering, what are you going to do next? It's very similar to the military. You're so trained to do this at this time, and you're kind of like you're like a soldier in a lot of ways. You know the NFL, and a lot of times we're not really prepared to go out. You know, and so yeah, I was afraid, but I knew there were some things that I wanted to do. I wanted to go back to school, so I went back to school, got my bachelor's in sociology.
Yes.
As soon as I retired, basically. Well, actually, I took a year off and I went back to school. That was one thing that I was really glad that I did. Something that I promised my father that I would do. So, yeah, it was scary, but also challenging. And I think that kind of fits. You know, if you're an athlete, you're looking for the challenge. And I was kind of looking forward to the challenge and see what I wanted to be.
Yeah, I can see that. Now, you transformed yourself into a public speaker.
Right.
Were you always that guy?
You know, in a lot of ways, I've always spoke. I mean, it started from doing Easter speeches at church. We had to do Easter speeches all the time. And then, you know, in high school, I got interviewed a couple times. And then when I got in college, I did some speaking, you know, with maybe elementary schools. And when I got, you know, my first couple of years in pros, a lot of people wanted me to speak, but I didn't feel comfortable speaking about getting your degree or getting your education because I didn't quite get mine.
Right.
So I actually stopped speaking for a while. And it's just something that people kind of always ask me to do. You know, my father was a minister. People kind of always thought that, you know, I had that minister bug in me or whatever. But I really do it because I like to encourage others. And I remember being in high school, going to a football camp at South Carolina, and I remember just really loving the speaker and what he had to say and how he touched me. And I thought, like, man, I would really love to give that back. And I just think that our gifts and our knowledge, what God gives us, is really not about us, but is serving a purpose for other people. So, you know, I kind of came up with kind of a tagline, you know, educate, empower, and encourage. And I feel that's something that we all do in some form or fashion. I thought that, you know, those 3 E's, and I know that Jobs always talk about present in 3 words. If you're doing an elevation pitch or whatever, always try to do it in 3 words. Try to make it as simple and quick as possibly can. And I thought educate, empower, and encourage was perfect.
Yep, just like, you know, life coach got his little redirect, regroup, refocus. I can get it right, you know.
Right behind them. Good Lord.
But Levon, as you started doing that, because now, you know, Levon has been seen on national TV, he's been on local TV, he's been on podcasts, he's done speaking on private platforms. What's the most rewarding part of what you do?
The most rewarding part is when someone comes up to you and said that it was a great speech and you really gave them something to think about. Because I believe, you know, everybody's not going to listen to every word, but if you can give them some golden nuggets, something that they can really take with them back home, I think you do your job as a speaker.
Absolutely.
So I always try to give them something that they can really think about, maybe something they haven't heard before. And I really believe being authentic, just being who you are and just sharing yourself is a very powerful thing. So I try to make sure I can give them a nugget. So if they can take a nugget home with them, that's pleasing to me.
That did it right there. Life coach, you had a question.
Oh, you had asked my 3 of them already that I was going to ask it, brother.
Oh, man.
Right.
Marcy?
What was I going to ask? Okay, my question. Is there something that you really want to do that you've not been able to do yet?
Yes, there is.
And?
It's a summit that I want to do. It's going to be called Complete Me Summit. And the reason why I wanted to do it, because when I grew up, you know, I kind of focused more on being more of an athlete and being more of a well-rounded individual. And I really believe that in football, for instance, or any sports, we have a lot of camps that talk about doing drills and talk about, you know, technique, and it talks about the sport. But we really never touch the life skills that carry you further in life. And I understand as an athlete, it's really a shell life. And a lot of times, you know, the average player, I think it's about 1% of high school players make it into the NFL. So therefore, we're doing all these drills, and they're good. I'm not saying anything about it. I do football camp myself, but I always thought, like, man, what if we can teach them something that would carry on for a lifetime?
Come on.
Something that that not only could teach them, but maybe could teach their parents. So I thought about this summit that I wanted to do, and it basically touches on 5 different things. It touches on health and nutrition. It touches on my first bank account. It touches on mindfulness. It also touches on branding and social media. And, you know, each student or students and their parents will go to class for about 30 or 45 minutes, and they will rotate each class. And they would get information for the vendors that we have to teach them about those skills.
That makes sense.
And I think those skills can, you know, carry over in their life and then also you provide a service. And what I'm really trying to get at is trying to have what I call a community network. And we're not just giving them the revival effect. And what I mean by revival effect is that, you're praising the Lord, hallelujah, when the revival is going on for that week. But after about 2 weeks, everybody kind of forgets what happened at a revival, the lessons that were taught.
Right.
So I really believe in not only giving them that revival experience, but also partner up with their families and saying, hey, if you need this kind of life coaching or performance coaching, always give us a call. Always connect with us so we can connect with you and be with you not only for that period of time, but for a lifetime.
I think that is something that is
Man.
definitely needed. Go ahead,
I
Mo.
didn't like that.
Man, I apologize for zapping out. We got storms and stuff happening here. So it's kind of like instead of a generational wealth knowledge, it just generates all good, knowledge. It kind of helps them along, not just with the wealth, but with the way that they raise their children, and just generational knowledge wealth is what I guess I can.
I think it's just really just helping you with your life skill. I think sports is a good way to build character and understand what it takes to do well in this world. But I think that a lot of times our athletes, our students, they're not really well prepared in that area.
Yeah.
So most kids don't really know how to study. We just automatically say study, but maybe I don't really know how to study, or maybe I study differently, or what to expect when going into high school, going into your 9th grade. And I gather all this experience or knowledge just because of what I went through as a kid and trying to navigate being a student athlete, being a first generation student athlete for my family. So, you kind of think about that. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do something like this was because I saw Michael Vick get in trouble for doing the whole dog thing.
Yep.
And I was thinking, like, man, what if he had someone that was in his corner when he was younger to talk to him about some of the ramifications about your actions? So I kind of thought about that, and I was like, man, I would really want to give that back. I was talking to someone today, and they were just talking about, me being a minister. I don't really think I'm a minister at all. But what I think is I have a ministry. I have and football is basically the platform because I played it. Everybody enjoys football. So, yeah, that's the one thing I want to do to sum it all up. I want to have a summit that we can do, maybe every quarter, maybe twice a year, and it can travel. It can travel to different districts and maybe different states. Maybe the NFL will adopt it. But I think because we have so many football camps or so many basketball camps, and we're showing them the drills and how to handle basketball,
nutrition,
and all that stuff is going to be done with. And I think we need more of a community that is a network and a resource for our youth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're talking with Levon Kirkland, former NFL player with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but now he's a motivational speaker. He speaks on topics that surround sports, the mindset, and motivation. I wanted to ask you, I'm going to get to you in a second, Jeff. Wanted to ask you, so let's step out of football for a second. You got Jay Morant right now. You had an opportunity to clean up. You made a mistake, okay?
Sure.
Done the same mistake again now, and he's in the headlines again. Is there something wrong with the way that he's was taught, or did the NBA get around him and say, well, hey, look, these are the things that we need to do in order to be a sports celebrity, and these are the things that you don't do?
Well, I think you could look at the NBA and say that maybe the NBA is a part of the issue with a player like Ja Morant. Now, yeah, I believe in redemption. I believe in second, third, fourth chances, and I really believe that if you look at how basketball or football, we really do a disservice to our kids when we put them on a plateau so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we really
Yeah.
we really cherish these kids when they play basketball. They do it well. We tell them how great they are.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times that could be an issue. You know, you're 20 years old or 19 years old.
Mhm.
And a lot of times in basketball case, and this is just an opinion, you don't really have that college experience.
No.
That it's a buffer. You know, it's a buffer to real life. From high school, college is where you grow and understand who you are before you really get out there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, you know, like the shoe companies like Nike, they give them so much.
There you go.
Right
Well,
away.
That it's hard, I would think. You know, think about when you're 19. Were you always doing the right things? Probably not.
No.
Exactly.
You know, we probably would. I mean, I'm glad Facebook wasn't around when, you know, I was at it might not have been good. You know what I'm saying? So now we got cameras everywhere, camera phones, and we're going to record this kind of stuff. But we give our athletes so much at a young age. We give them so much praise. We give them so much. We give them so much. We give them trophies. We give them praise. That I think it's hard to stay humble. I think it's hard to, you know, do the right things. I think, you know, we're in this culture that, you know, it's tough. And I think, you know, you have to watch who you hang with, you know. That's a part of it as well, you know, especially when you got one guy who's on the come up that goes to the NBA or the NFL, and then he probably has some of the same old friends. Now, in some cases, it's not a bad thing, but I think if you hang around 9 crackheads, guess who's going to be the 10th one?
That's true.
Well, now.
Yeah,
I
think environment is important, but it's hard to tell a 20-year-old, I mean, $200 million making billionaire much. It's tough. You know?
So I brought that up to related to what you're doing now. You know, you're literally telling these guys, this is how it is, this is life, this is what it is. Adjust your mindset so that you can be better, be different.
Well, I think also too, we're trying to catch them at a very impressionable age.
Yeah.
And I think once they get in high school, sometimes it's tough to get them beyond their habits and their friends. I think you do it younger, where they can be impressionable, where I think you can reach them. And also, too, I think it's important to, as I said about the summit, to reach their parents as well.
That's something going to happen.
You give them the information instead of the parents dropping off their kids and saying, okay, later. I think they also need the information as well. So,
yeah, because they're a big influence in their children.
Right, yeah.
Summit is going to happen. You already spoke it. It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to come. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just, it's something that I believed in. I really, when it came to mind, I really didn't know how to do it, to be honest with you. I just kind of saw it and talked to a few people. And I really feel like in 2024, it's going to be launched.
It's necessary. It's
necessary. I think it is, and especially when you talk about where I'm from and where I'm at now, South Carolina. We're ranked 43rd in college and career readiness. And I don't know about you guys, but 43rd is kind of bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
So, you know, our kids are not prepared and not ready. So we're going to keep saying, well, they need to be something done. I think that at some point in time, you have to get it done. And I think if you can put your hands on them and it could be a tangible thing, I think it could change lives. I really do.
I think so too. Jeff, you had a question?
Yeah, I want to speak to this. So the thing is, yeah, like we talk about how all the kids, they get them accolades. You feed them up, you pump their heads up. Right. A lot of times kids, they look at sports as the way out. You know what I mean? So they don't have like a backup plan. They don't think of anything on that back end to say, okay, this is what I can fall on later on in case sports don't happen. Or if I do make it and I go ahead, I make so much money, how do I manage that money to put it in, invest it in certain areas just in case an injury does occur? You know what I mean? That type of, and that's where those life skills come in. You know what I mean? If you get them young and get them thinking about that, like you want to do, man, like it's perfect. So, that's very much so needed.
One of the reasons why I wanted to do that, because when I was coming up, it was all about survival.
Exactly.
You know, I went to a PWI, didn't really know what to expect. And, you know, my family was, I grew up with a great mother and father that they didn't really have much education. And although they had leadership and love, you just didn't really know what to do.
Right.
And there was not a lot of mentors back then that was doing what you were wanting to do. So you really you just had to kind of, I guess, like I said, survive it and just go through it. And I just didn't want anybody else to do that. I kind of said, like, man, what if we can give them the information now? What if I could travel back in time and go to my junior high self and say, like, hey, this is what you need to do, and this is what's going to be helpful to you. That's how my imagination worked. And I thought, like, what if we could do that? What if we can give them information and create a bridge, create a connection between people who already done it, they're done that, to people who have the potential. And like you said before, Jeff, also, you know, we give them versatility, you know, because a lot of times athletes are preached, you don't have a plan B. You hear that a lot now. Hear not a plan B. This is your plan. And sometimes that is the thought process. I kind of had that thought process about, I'm going to the league. I don't want to hear anything else. I'm going to the league. I don't care about the stats. That doesn't apply to me. Which in some ways I think is that's a good attitude in some ways. But I think because the life is such a shelf life that it doesn't always help you after the fact.
After the fact. Marcella.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off what Jeff was saying. I did work in a high school, and a lot of the kids were always, hey, I'm going to the NFL. I'm going to play basketball professionally and all these things. And something that they all called me grandma, and something they would listen to me. And I would always say, if something happened, what are you going to fall back on? And a lot of them got college scholarships. I know one young man who, I'm going to the NFL, I'm going to the NFL, I'm going to the NFL. And I kept asking him, and he's like, well, yeah, I'm going to go to college, but I'm going to the NFL. His first year of college was hurt twice, cannot play again. Period. And I always try to, as I mentor and talk to the kids, have a backup plan. What are you going to do with the money? You get a little bit of money now. What are you doing? Running, getting new gym shoes. You're running, you need to learn these different things. And that's something that I keep saying we really need to have in our schools.
Well, I think also too is that unfortunately, a lot of times that's what we see. If I'm growing up and I'm watching television, I'm seeing people that look like me that are bouncing the ball or catching the ball or throwing the ball.
And you got those.
There's a lot of other examples that are out there, but we're not exposing them to those different examples. We're not exposing them to doctors or lawyers or whatever. We see the NBA and the NFL, and that's what our kids, are acting, are singing. That's what our kids are exposed to, instead of maybe other professions. And that's why I want to create this summit, or going to create this summit.
Yes, they are going to.
Love it.
Because I think it gives people a little bit more of exposure to other occupations, other careers. And then also the plan is to have people that are from there. Like if you're from, like I'm from Lamar, I think it's important that we connect people who are successful from your city or your district to talk to the kids about how to be, their journey of being successful. And I think a lot of times when you see someone from your background or a similar background that's doing good work, it makes you think like, if they did it, they're from here, why can't I do that?
Exactly.
And I think if you do that you go to different places and you have those different speakers talking, I think it could be a great effect.
Well, I know it will be.
Yeah, and again, you've been through it before, so you know the rigors of becoming a pro football player and the transformation and becoming a private citizen afterwards. So if you can't benefit from that experience alone, something's wrong with you. You really you need more than just you. You need a psychiatrist, because you're there to actually tell them, hey, this is what truly happens.
And for me also, to give you guys a personal story, I lost my wife at a very young age from lung cancer.
Oh, so sorry.
And I think, when she was diagnosed, I was like a little confused, because I kind of thought that lung cancer is basically for smokers, and then you realize that it's not. It's not. And I think just I end up having being a single parent, not really seeing that as my future, but sometimes life kind of gives you something, kind of want to trip you up, and how do you get through, losing someone that's significant, especially after you lost your dad 2 years before, you lost your brother like 2 years before your dad, and then you lose your mother after that. I mean, it's not just, hey, I'm a football player and I've done this and I've done that, but it's more so I've been through a lot of setbacks, a lot of things that were tragic, things that didn't go well. So I'm not sitting in some ivory tower pointing down and saying, you folks need to do this. But it also encouraged me to continue to do the best I possibly can.
Yeah, that's you're a professional athlete, you're a star. And some people, especially in the basketball, I keep bringing up basketball, they think that they're untouchable. You know what I mean? I've made it here, and that's it. Okay, Mo, you had a question real quick before?
Yeah, a statement. I just remembered that back in the day, you had a few of the players that would tell you that I'm not a role model and things like that. Then you have people like David Robinson that played the NFL and had a career in the Navy as a lieutenant. And basketball, and he didn't get that light shined on him like he should have. Those are the kind of role models I'm talking about. If you're going to be out in the public, you got to not just give back with a turkey or a ham during Christmas. I'm talking about giving back some real knowledge. But in order to have that, you got to have somebody directing you, to do those things, the right things, and be able to pass that knowledge on to the next generation.
Well, I think you saw when you talk about Charles Barkley doing that, I mean, he was trying to sell a shoe. I mean,
okay,
they're trying to sell a shoe, and they're trying to get that money from.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that was really.
But you're right. I think as an athlete, I think anybody, should be a role model. That's why I came up with the educate, empower, encourage, because honestly, we all should be doing that.
Well,
yes,
we should be all. Go ahead.
Think about this, Levon. You have, say you have your people out there like Elon Musk and stuff like that. And they'll tell you they're role models. You got people listening to them, everything that they're saying. Those folks are role models in those fields. How come we can't have it the same way in the NFL and the NBA and acting and all that other stuff that we do? And we got to have those people to stand up and show us. So our kids are paying attention,
Yeah, and those fields that our kids are really paying attention, these videos, like you said, the music, the athletes, and we need to see more of not just, of course, you have money and you're able to do a lot of things with money, but what are the other things that's going out? Like you said, not just throwing a ham or turkey out there, but what are some things actually speaking of experiences? Like you just said, you've experienced some things, and let them know you are human. You're not this person way here on this pedestal. You're human just like they are.
This stuff didn't happen to you.
I totally agree with you guys, but look at the dynamics when you come into the NFL, you come into music or whatever like that. A lot of times you are young yourself.
Right. Yeah. Lack of experience.
You don't have the experience. You don't have the life experience.
Yeah, or the
And you're usually the one that they're showing or marketing to the sport or to other people. So a lot of times that information or mindset that you would like to get out there. And I'm not saying like I believe that a lot of the NFL players, and that's just my experience, a lot of those guys are great guys. They're guys that you want to introduce your daughters to. Smart, strong, have integrity. I mean, but you don't see a lot. You don't see those guys you don't see them in the front lines as much as you see the superstars or the quarterbacks. There are a lot of great guys that give back and talk to kids, but we don't see them. Those guys are not the ones that they market.
Right.
They're going to market certain guys. Those certain guys going to sell shoes, sandwiches, cars, whatever. But they're not always the guys that we would like to see up front.
I like what you said about mindset, but let's take a quick break. We're going to redirect, regroup, and refocus with life coach Jeff Relaford.
Hey, what's up? I'm gonna give y'all this 1 minute thought for the day. And if y'all took a listen to the podcast earlier, I was talking about lack of confidence and why you don't take risks. And a few things that one of the biggest things that really stuck out to me that I really want to keep sharing with people is you cannot allow negative past experiences to bring hesitation into your life. Feel what I'm saying? Because setbacks allow hesitance. That's what they do. So what you have to do is you have to take a setback, you have to flip it and mold it back into positivity. So what if you tried writing the book 3-4 times and you couldn't get nothing with it? Keep going. So what if you got 2 or 3 failed businesses? Go ahead and start the other one. What you should do is you should perfect and get better each and every time you move forward. So stop allowing your setbacks to cause hesitance in your life pertaining to your objectives to reach your goals. I guarantee you, if you go ahead and you start to flip how you see certain situations and always look ahead to positivity, it'll guarantee to get better.
All right.
Setback ain't nothing but a ticket for a comeback, man.
Shut up.
Yeah.
All right.
It is.
With Mr. Levon Kirkland, he's former NFL inside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, and he's doing some great things right now, motivating people, changing their mindset and motivating them to be a better person. What's next for you, sir? Well, before we do that, he also has a podcast. Okay, guys.
Okay.
The name of the podcast is called The Blitz with Levon Kirkland.
It's Beyond the Blitz with Levon.
Beyond the Blitz. Let me get it right. Beyond the Blitz. Slap me. Just don't tackle me. And it's actually picking up a whole lot of steam, y'all, because it's recent. Let's take a look at how he explains what the show's about.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Blitz with your guy, Levon Kirkland. Man, I have always wanted to tell stories. I've always been curious about origin stories. Even when I was looking at Batman from my cousin's bedroom, I always thought it was fascinating. So I have a show that's going to talk about people, amazing events, situations, and also things that can help you become a better person and live your best life. Today on my show, I have a wonderful, wonderful guest. I am a fan of his, Ryan Shazier, one of the best linebackers who ever played at Pittsburgh, and he's going to share his story with us here at Beyond the Blitz with Levon Kirkland. And also, just a reminder, if you out there, you're going to be in our audience, what we're calling the Monster Crew, make sure you interact with us. We want this show to be fun. We want this show to be interactive. and we're going to have a great time. So we need you guys to make sure that you come on and interact with us.
Very cool.
All right.
Yeah.
No,
Like
come
that,
on,
like
man. That's everything that we just talked about. It sums up right there on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that show is you know, again, I keep seeing a lot of shows, especially with former athletes, and it's all about the locker room talk. It's all about, hey, remember when Larry Bird and he talked trash and he did this and he said that. And I think those shows are great, but I want to dig a little bit deeper than that. Just kind of want to know where people come from.
Right.
And why, you know, their situations. You know, do they have any advice for the audience out there? You know, leadership advice, you know, what you do with Ryan Shazier, especially. This man was paralyzed and he was able to come back and walk. But man, you talking about adversity. That's one that I thought, you know, in the NFL, it's not concussions that's a big fear. It's being paralyzed or dying. That's a big fear. So I just kind of wanted to, you know, really dig deep, get some stories from some people, let them share, let them be their authentic self, and be a little different, and really, honestly, be positive as well.
You got to
I think there's too many. We're going against each other too much in a lot of platforms we have out there. I just wanted to have a conversation like you guys are having a conversation with me and get to know these people and have fun with it.
Yeah, and you have a giving personality, as I said. You know, before the show started, I said, you know, he's doing a podcast. We got competition. He said, no, it's not competition. We're all doing the same thing for the same purpose, which is absolutely positively right, man. We want to, we still got the candles lit, okay? But before we get out of here, and you just mentioned it, man, we want to talk about, well, we want everybody on here, but our guests, we want you to give some, as you said, so much in the show, some wise words, some inspiration to those that are watching.
Well, I would say that we're always going to run into problems. There's going to always be past experience that we hold on to. And I want people to, instead of thinking of taking control all the time, I want them to think about letting it go and surrendering your problems to a higher level, or being able to let some of that negativity go. And I think you'll be surprised of what can happen in your life when you do that. When you finally let go, you don't hold on to what she said about you, or you don't hold on to the past. You surrender that. And I think once you surrender, you'll see your soul, you'll see your health becoming better because you're not holding on to that stress. So one thing I want to say to the audience is when you want to have control and you hold on to it, just let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. Such an inspiration. And we appreciate you coming through the show. Mo, what you got?
Man, think about this. This is coming from somebody that's had the experience and is coming to you and saying, hey, this is what it really is. I mean, we really need something like this now. And also, in order for you to be blessed, you got to be a blessing. You know that, Levon. That's the reason why you're doing what you're doing.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, Mom.
Yes, I just want to tell people, take time to enjoy life. A lot of times we sit back, we wait until we're too old to do a lot of things, and then we say, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Take time, enjoy life, seek out some of the things that you really want to do. Parents, teach your kids. Teach your kids.
Yep, Joe.
Hey, Levon, I just really want to tell you I love what you're doing, man. And really the direction that you're going in, man, it's much needed. I'm telling you, if you get a lot more of these young kids who are in sports, you get them in the right mindset, I feel it'll actually push them to do better, because then they have even more motivation to keep going and moving forward, along with even with the investments, the other stuff like that, just knowing what to do so they have a plan. That'll make them want to go even harder with the sport. So, hey, man, I really like what you're thinking, and I like your mentality behind it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Most definitely. Gina.
Yes, I agree, Levon. You're doing an awesome job. To me, this is much better than the football camps, the baseball camps, the basketball camps, because it's more than teaching kids how to play the sport.
Life camp.
You know, think about young players that's coming out and they get all of this money and they don't know what to do with it. To have somebody to shape that, there should really be something implemented in all the sports. When these young guys come out of here, some of them straight out of high school, and they get all this money, there should be some type of financial schooling or something to help them. And one thing I want to share that really reminds me of what you're doing tied to my youngest son, because when my son was 17, he came to me and he said he wanted to go to the Navy. And I said, why do you want to go to the Navy? We had been planning for him to go to college, filled out the financial aid application. I was ready for him to go to college. And so I was wondering what changed your mind. He said, I went to people that had never went to the military and I asked them, what did I do? And they all said, you shouldn't go.
Wow.
I went to the people, veterans who had been in the military, and asked them, and they said you should go. So I went with the ones who knew about it already. And that's exactly what you're doing. That's exactly how parents have to look at you. Their children are talking to someone who went through it already. So just keep pushing. You're very well needed.
And he's touchable too.
Yes.
Touchable too. So real quick story. So Levon, I wanted to play football in high school as well. I wanted to be a wide receiver. So I went to the first day of practice, and coach wanted to see what we could do. We was all padded up and everything. He wanted to see what we could do. I ran a pattern. They threw me the ball. I jumped, caught the ball, and got the hell knocked out of me. My shoe went left. All right.
Something crazy.
My shoe went left. And when I came down, I was like, it's my first and last day of playing football. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm a player.
And it's but I went another direction and went somewhere else and did what I was supposed to do.
Right.
I had no business out there. But
That's funny.
just like he said, though, guys. I mean, and Gina just said it really well. He's been through this. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's a success. Not many people, as he said, the lifespan of a football player is 3 or 4 years. He did 11 years in the toughest time of the NFL era. The toughest times of the NFL era. And he's still walking around. No head trauma, no body trauma. They got all his limbs.
Miss a game.
To teach others a different mindset. You to us, man, you're a huge success right now, brother. And I can't wait to see what happens next.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Man, we appreciate you coming through and giving us this time. This is Levon Kirkland, and we are DopelivenTV Live, and we will be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same back time. Can I do my brother tonight? I can't do
brother. Go to brother tonight, man.
No, please not. Please don't.
Levon, hey man, anything we can do for you, let us know.
Likewise. Thank you.
DopelivenTV Live, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Peace out.